over 50,000 moms connected online and offline both. The community has been active for the last 7 years.
From the Garden State, New Jersey, from one mom to another, it's time for Mom's Talk. Here's Avani.
Welcome, Supermoms, to Mom's Talk. I am your host, Avani, and our today's Supermom guest is joining us from Mumbai. She is the Chief Connect Officer of JAMS, welcoming Ritu G. Welcome to the show, Ritu. It's lovely to have you.
Thank you so much, Avani. It's amazing that we may be sitting across different seats in very, very different corners of the globe, yet we are connected. So happy to connect with not just you, but all the listeners and viewers as well. Hola!
I love your energy, Ritu. Let's start off talking about JAMS. What is this group all about, Ritu? And what is that thing that you are doing differently that it's booming like crazy?
Well, first and foremost, the full form of JAMS is Journey About Mast Moms. I repeat, it's Journey About Mast Moms. Currently, we're over 50,000 moms connected online and offline both.
Must mom. I'm a must mom.
I'm a must mom.
I'm a must mom.
I'm a must mom.
I'm a must mom. Must. This is so must.
The community has been active for the last 7 years. And I became a single parent. I moved back to Mumbai. And honestly, it was simply a group of 20 mothers that started on a very selfish initiative from my end to reconnect with whatever's happening in terms of the parenting scene in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And who knew? Everybody really loved the no nonsense concept, which basically meant that we don't send good morning or good night messages or happy birthday messages or random jokes and forwards. We would not do that. It was very strictly parenting based conversations about our kids or about mums. Everybody loved the entire concept. And I remember on the third day, one of the mothers asked me, hey, I think I have another, very bubbly friend and she'd love to be, part of something like this. And I said, hey, why not? More the merrier. Having said that, yes, I was the common factor, but not everybody knew each other as well. Like some of the relatives and cousins obviously knew each other, but they didn't know my ex-colleague or, my best friend, that kind of a thing. But the fact that it was no nonsense and, because it was a great platform, which is very non-judgmental and unbiased, I think that's what really resonated with most of the mothers, because I obviously see that, in urban cities, considering we don't stay in joint family setups and it's more nuclear family setups and patterns, there is that, little bit of hesitancy to reach out and ask. So when you're part of support groups and communities like these, you also are not worried or stressed in terms of, what is the other person going to think or feel, because, I'm asking a question which may be, downright silly. And I always tell them, no question is ever stupid or it's ever silly. You should just ask. In fact, you should ask, get that clarified and, get an answer and become a better parent by, empowering yourself versus, doing it the wrong way, making a mistake, regretting it and, repenting it later. So it's always best to ask. So yes, it's been amazing. We're not only connected online via various social media platforms. I have around 100 WhatsApp groups that are categorized age-wise, era-wise, profession-wise. We've got some exclusive WhatsApp groups as well. We're also connected on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. And but the beauty of the entire community is that we meet offline. We've hosted, in fact, more than 450 interventions in the last 7 years, and every single event has been complimentary. It's been free of cost. There's no money attached to it. And thirdly, apart from the online and offline connect, we also land up doing a lot of social initiatives which enrich and empower the underprivileged and the poor fraternity within the city. So it could just be perhaps doing a crowdfunding campaign where we are, collecting, an XYZ amount of money and donating it for a social cause, or it could just be something as random that, if you have things that you're not using anymore, like we have done this major sari collection drive for the underprivileged women. So all of us, took out at least 2 or 3 saris from the house that were not, being used and were pre-loved. We collected all of them and, we donated money. I remember even when the earthquake in Nepal had happened, we had donated a lot of stuff together. So yeah, we are trying our best. At the end of the day, I would also like to mention that we are not one of those, commercial, investor-led, mommy community. It is simply a no-nonsense support group of the mothers, by the mothers, and for the mothers of me.
That's fantastic, Ritu. It's so good to know so much about this group through you. Now, Ritu, there are so many social media groups out there, and there are a lot of them which are focused towards moms as well. Knowing that you have such a big group with so much information out there, how do you channelize the content that you get that reaches to the right people at the right time?
That's a great question, Avani. So when I say in terms of content, they're basically discussions that are happening on our social media platforms online. Yes, as a community, and now because we are in a self-sustainable model, I do have someone who is with the content and social media, team, and I obviously give them a lot of insights of what are the frequently asked questions, or what are the questions that are trending, or what are most of the commonly asked questions, and we draft them. So, for example, one of the most commonly asked question is, what are the things for pregnant ladies specifically? That what are some of the things that must be in a maternity bag, before I go for my delivery at the hospital? So we have actually collated all that information and we've put it on our social media as well, and it can be a great reference. So nobody has to give the answer repeatedly, right? They can just refer to that particular post and that e-link, and they can get the answers right there and then. And maybe, yes, of course, there could be some additional inputs that the mothers, so they obviously write it down in the comments as well. So yeah, in that way, I would say that we're still not active via a website or a blog as such, but at least via our social media, we're trying to gather these insights. Like I mentioned, a lot of FAQs and commonly asked questions. We gather them together. We put it across in a survey format. So, for example, right now, because the pandemic is going on, a lot of mothers from urban cities are very reluctant and hesitant to even send their children. So we actually took out a poll and a survey to gather insight, and we realized that more than 90% of moms are still not comfortable sending the kids till the kids vaccine comes out. So information like these, we do land up collecting and giving them back as well. So yeah, we are doing our bit.
That's amazing. I think what you're doing, it's a very neat idea. I think you have made it so convenient for the mothers to reach out to the information that they need. Now, Ritu, since you have dealt with so many women, mothers, could you just tell us a little bit about some of the major concerns or point of interests that they have?
I would say the top 3 questions over so many years that I've seen, not just in a particular age group, but in generic, is a lot of the mothers are always hunting for domestic help. They are always in need of good nannies or good japa maids, or even patient care, for that matter, for their in-laws or grandparents or parents. So yeah, that is, I would say, that one most commonly asked question that, hey, I'm looking for a cook, or I'm looking for support staff, or I'm looking for a nanny or patient care. Very, 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 very. I mean, at least in a day, there would be at least 10 queries on that same question in different groups. I think the second most generic commonly asked question would be hunting for a weekend getaway. So they're always wanting to know what would be an appropriate, family-friendly destination, which would also be, age appropriate and in closer proximity to the city as well. So yeah, that I would perhaps say as my second most commonly asked question. And the third one, clearly has to be doctor's reference, whether it's a pediatrician, whether it's a dermatologist, whether it is any other child specialist or a dentist for that matter. That I would say, so a medical practitioner's reference is something which is also very, very frequently asked about. So yeah.
So are you connected or affiliated with some of the organizations, Ritu, just so that the mothers are getting the right kind of advice or guidance, professional guidance?
So like I mentioned, even the WhatsApp group that has mothers that have special children, I've also added counselors and people who help and educate and support, special children. I've also added them. So it's not like only the mothers, they're also expert in that group. So that one is taken care of.
All right.
If you're talking about the single mothers group, again, like I mentioned, it's a mixed bag. So the most asked questions are also by moms who perhaps got separated or are in midst of legal separation. You'll end up getting a lot of guidance from the moms who have already gone through the entire process. So the support group just kind of helps itself. There are so many times, or I would say majority of the times, that I personally don't have to intervene as such, or even my team for that matter, because the support group itself has a mixed bag. Like even in the infants group, while it does have moms that have just given birth to their children, but it also has moms whose children have already crossed 6 months, 10 months, because the group is between just born till 12 months. So the moms who've already gone through the process are giving them support. So it's not that just because I'm that part of every group, I'm personally answering those questions. The group itself helps each other. So we don't have to intervene or interfere every single time an issue comes up, or if there is anything getting discussed.
Yeah. What I like about this group, Ritu, as you mentioned, is that you're also getting some professional advice. You've made it that way. Usually people, when they move from one place to another, they're stepping out of their comfort zone. But in your case, you're giving a platform where they're stepping out of one comfort zone and into another comfort zone. Now, Ritu, were you like this right from the beginning, very social, helping others? How were your childhood years like?
Well, honestly, I come from a very, very different background. Yes, I was raised in a very humble, middle class upbringing, and had a very, I would say, very okay and regular background. I'm actually a dancer. I started my career learning classical Indian dancing, which is Bharatanatyam.
All right.
I did that for about 7 years. And then I moved on working with Shiamak Davar, who's India's very sought after choreographer and dance professional. So I was working as part of his core troupe for about 8 years. I've actually worked in Bollywood movies like Dil To Pagal Hai, Tal, done various award functions, fashion shows. I've taught dancing, not just a 4-year-old, but even a 74-year-old, as well. Travel across the country, travel, across a couple of parts of the world as well. So yes, so dancing was, like my passion turned into a profession. And via dancing, there was also teaching. As a result of that, communicating with someone who's very, very young, or is an adult or an older person, became very, easy for me, because, we were interacting on a daily basis and, traveling as such. Unfortunately, once I stopped dancing professionally, because I completed my education, and, my parents were encouraging me to get back or to perhaps, start working in the corporate sector. Call centers and BPOs were very, very hot, once upon a time. Big boom had happened about, if I'm not wrong, about 15 years ago. And I also moved into that sector. It paid me well. I could speak. I was a sales champ. I got into training. And then that's when, I also happened to meet my ex-husband, got married, moved to Delhi, stayed for a while in Australia as well. So yes, I've landed up working with some of the big corporates in the country, like GE Capital, American Express, and Wipro as well. However, it was primarily in the training, facilitation, and HR department. Like I mentioned, education was the primary key, and that's something that came very naturally to me. Yes, once I got pregnant and I delivered Sarah, I decided to take a back seat. At that point of time, I was not so aspirational. I still am not to get back to the corporate treadmill also. Somewhere I remember, when I started jotting down my life purpose, it all came to about what is it that I'm doing to make a difference in the world, and what I'm giving back to the society. So yes, I aspire now to be a social entrepreneur or get into the CSR space, or if God blesses me a little further, perhaps work with a leading NGO or a social foundation where I can be instrumental in changing the world for better.
Lovely. And Ritu, you definitely are making a difference in so many mothers' lives.
So yes, it's not been easy. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of learning, a lot of sleepless nights and back-breaking situations. But it's been worth it. I mean, till day, I say that I'm in complete gratitude and very, very grateful for Shiamak and my family and my parents that helped me develop and hone my skills to the fullest, which brings me at this point of life wherein I'm so confident. I still call myself an an ambivert, so I can be very extrovert, outgoing, but I can be downright introvert also at the time. But at least in terms of not having stage fear, having the confidence in communicating with any random person. I can talk to a security guard and Panwala also for the longest period of time. And, I can talk to somebody from HNI or, somebody from a political connection also very, very happily and easily. So obviously, experiences and, this upbringing during my childhood helped me to what I am today. And like I mentioned, I'm in complete gratitude and very, very grateful for all the people that have been, part of the journey, whether good or bad.
So now you have such a big group, Ritu, and you have interacted with so many mothers. You've known their ups and downs, their emotions. You've got this exposure of so many mothers, how they think, what they do. We would love to know what your message would be for the moms.
Well, honestly speaking, and I think this is something even I experienced a lot as a mother, is the guilt factor. Somehow we still feel that we are not worthy enough, or we are not good enough, or in case if some untoward incident has perhaps happened with the child, or you may have left your child for a couple of hours and gone to work, or gone outside for just some self pampering. That guilt factor has always bogged them down, or perhaps even killed a lot of mothers. So yeah, if that is something that they can balance it out, I think it would be wonderful. One of the things I always tell mothers: please learn to say no. Please learn to. As Indra Nui says, you cannot have it all. You cannot be all as well. You don't have to prove a point to anybody, honestly speaking. A typical, image and perception, of a mother like a Durga Ma, having so many hands and, juggling and multitasking is all a faff. You shouldn't, at times when you're not able to do, you shouldn't do, which is why a lot of, learning sessions are happening even in corporates, that multitasking is actually not considered your strength. It's in fact your area of opportunity. You're doing too much at, too many that and in that specified period of time, you should ideally, your quality gets affected. So do one thing at a time. Learn to say no. Please start delegating and don't feel guilty.
I agree with the fact, Ritu, that multitasking, in fact, kind of decreases the quality of work that you are doing. And I guess the quality of prioritizing and the art of prioritizing is something that comes in handy at that time. Thank you so much, Ritu, for coming on the show. It was lovely chatting with you.
Pleasure is all mine, Avni. Happy parenting, happy motherhood.
Hi, this is Avni from Mom's Talk. Help me spread the word and join me on my mission of motivating other moms by sharing the video. Thank you for watching.